Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this video, we are looking at the Hiya Toys Injustice 2 Superman figure. Now, I don't think they've done comic figures before these, have they? I don't know. I'm not 100% sure about that, but these figures are alright. They're in the 1/18th scale, so they're significantly less detailed than you would expect from like a standard release action figure in like, let's say 5 inches and up. But they're still really solid for what they are. They're very similar in design to like their Predators and Aliens that they've showed us before, and even the Marines, though those are a lot more basic than these guys. They're pretty solid figures, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at them. There's some good and some bad. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. And this guy stands just about 4 3/8 inches tall, which seems to me to be a little bit tall to be in the 1/18th scale. I didn't do the math, but I'm pretty sure like Joe's and the Marvel Universe figures, they're about 3 3/4 inches. So I'm not quite sure these guys are going to fall quite in line with there, which could be a serious problem if you're worried about scaling. So be aware of that. I don't collect this scale at all, so I'm not exceptionally familiar with the sizing, but I can still show you the figure and what's good and what's bad about it. So that's what we're going to focus on here. Overall aesthetics on this guy, not bad. The proportions are good enough, maybe a little bit top heavy, but it's not too bad. It looks fine. I don't really have any issue with that. The sculpt is relatively soft, which is to be expected, but they do have some wrinkles throughout the boots and some panel lining type stuff in the armory suit. It's not too bad. There's a wash going throughout the whole thing other than the skin parts, so that gives him a little bit of detail. The paintwork's clean enough. His shoulder pads are soft and flexible, but he does have shoulder pads which are metallic blue. Little nubbins up here which are metallic blue to help hold on his cloth cape, which is not the most impressive cape ever, but it's definitely not bad. It's nice material. It looks good scale-wise. It's just a flat piece of cloth though, because obviously at this scale you're not going to get it to fold and wrinkle a whole lot naturally, but it's okay. The paint job on the face is very minimalistic, but it's not terrible. Like, it's fine if you don't look too close at it, which you're probably not going to anyway. It'll get the job done, but it's not going to impress anybody. It's very cartoony, which is not really what it's supposed to look like for Injustice, but that's what it is. So overall aesthetics on this guy, I'll give it given what it is, because it's a little tiny figure, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It looks fine for the scale. Could it be better? Definitely, but it's not as bad as just average. So there you go. As far as accessories go, we have 2 interchangeable heads. We have the neutral head, which comes on him in the package, and then one where he's got the heat vision. It's not the best look. His mouth is just like a white oval. It doesn't really have any shape to it, so I can't quite tell what the expression's supposed to be. And the eyes are only passable. And then we just have a couple of fist hands to go in addition with his loose hands. I guess technically we should count this. It does have a display stand, though he has decent enough ankle articulation where he doesn't need it, but he does come with the display stand, so there you have it. Accessory-wise, 5 out of 10. They're not impressive, but they're there, so it's better than nothing, but it's not really on the positive scale because they're not especially good. Okay, on to the articulation, which is kind of decent for this guy. He's got a ball peg for the head and for the neck, so it moves around pretty well. It's a little clunky looking, but it'll get the job done. Again, at this scale, I mean, you have to take a little bit of have a little bit of leeway. That's not really what I'm trying to say either. You get my idea, hopefully. You're not going to get the best articulation and the best sculpt and the best everything out of something this small. And just so that you have an idea, frame of reference for the size, I will show you this. This is a standard 6-inch scale, as people say, but it's 1/12 scale, slightly larger because that's how they do it Batman figure. So he's very small, not quite half as big. So yeah, these are definitely not 1/18th scale, but it's still quite small. So any detail you get, any articulation you get, it's kind of a benefit. Okay, so for the shoulders, it's a swivel hinge. You get decent range, better than horizontal going out to the side. Full rotation's fine because the shoulder pad is soft. It doesn't really get in the way too much, so it's not the worst situation. It's not the best, but it'll be okay. You don't get a bicep swivel up there. I'll get to the hands in a second. Bicep swivel comes down here at the elbow, which is not great, but it's relatively standard, so that's okay. You do get 90 degrees out of the bend. Hands are just on ball pegs. They do pop off fairly easily, but that's because they're little tiny bits of plastic, so it's not a bad thing. It's just something to be aware of. It's not like they're going to fall off on their own, but they do function essentially just as a swivel because there's no real range for it. It's just that much range, so that's okay, I guess. For the torso, we have a single ball peg, which is relatively ineffective. You get a little bit of rotation, a little bit of leaning, but not a lot. It's just good enough. And then for the lower torso, you get another ball peg, but it's mostly going to be for rotation again. You don't get very much leaning out of it. It's there, but it doesn't really serve much purpose. For the hips, it's just a basic ball peg with a swivel, so you can bring them up. Not quite horizontal. They don't go back really at all. Going out to the side, it's not too bad. That's better than I expected, so that's okay. Then you do get the thigh swivel like I mentioned. Double jointed knees work just fine. The ankle hinge is very nice on this. It's not anywhere near as problematic as the Predators. It's fine. You do get an ankle rocker or a swivel hinge. It's not perfectly square, it's quite angled, but it's there, so bonus points for that. So articulation on this guy is not bad. It's not impressive, but for this scale, it's definitely acceptable. I'm going to give the articulation a 6 out of 10 because the torso doesn't work as well as it should. And the hips could be a little less floppy, but they're not too bad. So, as is usually the case for a figure in this scale, it's not especially impressive. It's not as impressive as their Predator figures, despite the problems with the Predators. They have phenomenal sculpts and paint jobs. This guy is just relatively average all the way around, so final verdict for him, I'm going to go 6.5 out of 10. It's acceptable if you collect this scale. If it is in scale, you won't be too super disappointed, but you won't be too impressed either. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. If you are new to the channel, I have thousands of reviews for you to check out. You can go ahead and check out my playlist. I've got all kinds of stuff there for you. And I have new videos coming out just about every single day, so you might want to subscribe for that. But in the meantime, keep collecting.